Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United, that's football, nearly said it, didn't, you can't get me on that technicality. Hello, welcome back to the Premier League, we're live, it's Manchester United this afternoon, I nearly did it again, but it's actually Wolves against Tottenham on That's Football, we're live, I hope you're all doing really well. At the start of another Premier League weekend. I've not done my FPL team, so I'm basically going to be, playing with what I've got and hopefully haven't got any injuries because I've just realised I've completely forgotten. This is going to be a difficult game for Spurs today. Obviously, that's the league table next to me. I think it's going to be a difficult game. Yeah, I do. I think they'll have a difficult game today because they're missing a few players. It's as simple as that. And when you look at the Spurs side, which we should be able to get on the screen for you now, this is how they are going to be lining up today. And as you can see, there is no place for Van der Ven because he's injured. There's no place for James Maddison because he's injured. So they're very much going with Vicario, Porro, Dyer, Davies, Emerson Royale. Changes at centre-backs, no Van der Ven, and Romero is suspended. In the midfield, it's Højbjerg, Bissouma and Sarr, which is more defensive with no Maddison. They're not massively hindered in the front three. Richarlison's also got a long-term injury, so it's Kulusevski, Son and Johnson. The problem is when you look at that Spurs bench, Dorrington, Donnelly, Velez, Phillips, Bentancur, Forster, Lo Celso, Gill and Skip. The problem that Spurs have got is the problem, and CJ makes a great point, I'm worried for Spurs the rest of the season, Mark. Maddison's supposed to be out for the rest of the year. This is the problem I think Spurs have now, CJ, is I expect them to tumble. And not because they're a bad team and not because their coach is overrated, but because the Premier League is not forgiving. And basically what I think will happen is that without the likes of the Maddisons and the Van der Vens, I think what's going to happen is that, you're on thin ice. If you lose a Bissouma or a Son in the next month, squad depth's a problem, says Joel. It's really sad. It's really sad. But look, it's happened to my club. You don't get any sympathy. It's happened to Chelsea. You don't get any sympathy. It could well happen to Arsenal and Liverpool. There's only really Man City that have got the squad to deal with this sort of stuff, and they've had a few injuries themselves. Like De Bruyne has been out for most of the season. So yeah, I don't think Maddison's out for a year. I think he's out for the year. They won't be back till January. Al2 Gaming's just done a super chat. Thank you very much for the super chats, saying that Van der Ven and Maddison won't be back till January. So within that time, they're obviously going to be playing Man City, but the Premier League's very demanding. So I don't know what happens with Spurs now. And I think today is a really big game for them because they're going to have to start winning games like this. This is not, and it never was, about Spurs winning a title. That was, never going to happen. Live the dream while you're dreaming it, but it was never going to happen. What this is now is, can they get top four? And they are in a decent situation there. But I think with regards to how that will play out, if we go back to the league table, there we go. Spurs have got a good gap on 26 points, puts them a good 6 points ahead of Newcastle. It's 4 points ahead of Villa. It's 8 points ahead of Brighton, and it's 10 points ahead of Manchester United. And that's what Spurs have got to protect until January, because not only will they have Maddison and Van der Ven back in January, they'll also have a January transfer window. They're sort of swimming against the tide, and it's about not drowning. That's what it is for Spurs. They've just got to try and maintain something over the next few weeks, which will be difficult. This game today against Wolves, Villa at home next week, the week after that because it's international break, Man City after that, West Ham, Newcastle, Forest, Everton, Brighton, Bournemouth, all before January. I mean, they've got like 8 games. It's nearly a quarter of the season they've got to play until January. So really big. Mark, you got mentioned on Talk Sport last night, says Matt. Can you give us the context? I can't respond if I don't know the context, Matt. So please let me know. I'll keep an eye out for that. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Just a reminder, actually, I'm not on TalkSport tonight. The Mark Goldbridge show, I'm not on it tonight. So if you enjoy that show and you're planning on watching it and calling in and that, I'm not on it tonight. So they might still be advertising it as the Mark Goldbridge show, but I'm not. It's my night off tonight. I'm I've got other things on, so I'm not on the show tonight. Basically, I'm going to a party, which has been arranged for a very long time. So you've got to have a night off sometimes. And obviously, I'm doing a watch along now. I've got United at 3. And then it's get your glad rags on and join behind. Rock, rock, rock. We're going to have some fun. No, we're not going to rock. But I'm not on tonight. So have a night off yourself. You're welcome. Right. I will have a few drinks. I had a few drinks last night. I had a lot of red wine last night. If you have to join into the United Stand at 8 o'clock on a Friday. It's not biblical. That's something else. I don't want to go down the religion route. It's always epic. And it was a great show last night. Really enjoyed it. So let's have a look at the Wolves team, because we are here to feature Wolves against Spurs. It's as much their game as it is Spurs' game. No one really talks about Wolves. And I think Gary O'Neill will like that. You've got Sarr, Semedo, Kilman, Dawson, Gomez, Hwang Hee-chan, Lamina, Gomez, Alt-Nouri, Balaguard and Kuna. I think Wolves could win this. I really, really do. I do think that Wolves could win this, and I don't know how it's going to play out, but Lewis says the Friday night show is always fire. It is. But I think this is a tough game for Spurs. I really do. I don't know what I went for in win, lose or draw with Ben Foster. If anyone can remind me, I don't remember what I said. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I really do. And I think Wolves have got a good chance. And I think if Spurs can win a game like this, big credit to the likes of Spurs, but also the manager Ange, because I don't think it's easy. Don't think it's easy at all. Just in a little bit of topical news, of course, VAR will be important. If you want to know who the referee is today, Tim Robinson. Never heard of him. And I hope we don't hear of him, because I don't want to be talking about referees. But we will also get these body cams today. What I would say about body cams is they're a load of shit. This is technology for technology's sake. They're not very good to watch. They're basically like the GoPros on your chest. Ben Foster's worn one before. I've actually got one. They're rubbish. They're absolutely rubbish. They're not. I mean, it's it's good for everybody. Some people might really like it. I've seen what they're like. It doesn't. I would like to see I personally would like to see more of the. Well, that's how I do it. Yeah, it's that big. I would personally like to see more of the drone footage. I would like to see a drone view. I would love to see that. Like Sensible Soccer, where you can see the pitch and the players running around. I would love to see that. That's the technology I'm waiting for. I can't wait to see that. Where they have an up. You can see the whole pitch like that next to me. You see the whole pitch there, and you see the ball and the players moving around. I'd love to see that. It would be very niche. Nothing's going to change. The reason we've had this camera view that we're looking at now, where it's side to side, horizontal, for decades, is because it's the best. Nothing is ever going to come in that's going to take away that view. It's the best, and we're used to it. I think other angles are all about niche and whether you like them. And I personally would like to see a bird's eye view of the pitch vertically, just to watch back goals and see movements of players off the ball. I think it would be fascinating from a coaching point of view. Body cam, don't think it adds anything, really. I don't think it adds a lot. Hi, Mark. I'm an ROI fan, but seeing Southgate say ages back he would pick Watkins based on recency bias, is this the most baffling thing a manager has ever said, says Sean. Yeah, he's a prat. He's a prat. Let's hope the officials are off the crack. They've been on the last few weeks, says Jay. Kuna is scoring a hat-trick this game, says Donald Pump. And doesn't the Bundesliga have something like that in some of its graphics? I love it, Toby. I've seen it before, and I love the bird's eye drone view of the camera on the top, where you can just see these players moving around. I love it. But body cam, for me, I find it nauseating. And I don't find it very useful. But look, it's another option. No idea what to expect from the officials today, says Rob. And if you want to join in, never at 8. So if you want to turn up at 8:20, you can catch the start of the show, says William. Oh, bitchy. What else? Need Son to get a hat-trick for my FPL, captain him. Matt, why have you not put another chat into the chat about this TalkSport thing? Because now's the time for you to tell me what was said. Body cams to prevent crimes. OMG, says Liquid Laser. Yeah, we used to have those in the police years ago. Need Son to get a hat-trick, says Royan. I do have Son, but I've got Haaland in my team, and I don't even know. I've not done my FPL, basically. I've made a right mistake. Ange Washtacoglu, says Meme. Come on, you Wolves, says Joel. The camera work in La Liga is impressive, says Boar. And the game is going to be great because it really can go either way, says Parish. I'm loving this. Pump it up a little more. Pep said Vardiel hasn't shown in training he can play the John Stones role. Not that he's not training well, says John 10. Don't really care. Not a Man City fan. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Don't care. If it's wound you up, it's probably done its job. Didn't mean to wind you up. It's called Sky Cam, says Scribble. Scared as a Spurs fan today, says Matt. I think you've got to be scared, predominantly scared, probably for the next few weeks. You really cannot afford to pick up another injury. That's going to be the big problem for Spurs. You can't afford to pick up another injury to a key player like a Basuma or a Son. Because if you do, it's going to be very, very difficult for you. I forgot to do my FPL as well, and I've got 5 out injured, says Bob. I've not even had a look at mine yet. What's your prediction for the Luton game, says Tobias? I mean, I say United are going to win, and people say jinx. I think Rashford will score, and people say jinx. It's not a jinx. It's not a jinx to predict Man United will beat Luton at home. It's a necessity. It's nailed on. If they mess that up, then the reaction to that is going to be incredible. I'm also scared for the next few weeks as a Spurs fan. The Chelsea game couldn't have gone much worse, says Spencer. Yeah, well, look, I think this is where Ange comes into play because I think he's already shown what he can do in a very short period of time. So can he do it with big players out? I mean, who's to say that Spurs don't play fantastic football and blow the opposition away today? There is nothing to say that. And I think that's what makes this game really intriguing. And, somebody said to me this morning, why are you doing a watch-along for Wolves against Spurs? And I said, because I actually do this because I love football. And I pick the games that intrigue me. And this game intrigues me. I'll only end up watching the extended highlights later anyway. And I thought, I want to watch this game. I want to see how Spurs cope under Postecoglou without the big players. And I think it's going to be fascinating to see in that sense. I can't remember what I went for in win, lose or draw, so I don't really want to give a score prediction that's contrary to that. Spencer Grice, thank you very much for your super chat, by the way. Why is Hwang Hee-chan doing on the right midfield, says Brian. They're observing a minute's silence, obviously, for Remembrance Sunday tomorrow before the game. If you want to do that, that's fine. I hadn't realised because I was looking at the live chat, but not a funny story. Me and Seb went down to Sainsbury's today. We walked in and this person said, can you be quiet, please? They're just starting the minute's silence. I hadn't checked my clock. It was like 11 o'clock. Went, no problem. I just stepped onto one of them walking elevators that takes you down into the main shop. And it takes about, if you don't move, it takes about 30 seconds. So as we're going down, everyone's looking at the moving elevator and me and Seb are on it. They're all stood in silence, looking at us as we move. We were being quiet, but it was really awkward because we were observing the minute silence, but we were on a moving walking elevator and everyone else in the shop had stopped and stand still. And they want to do something with their eyes, so they look at something that's moving, which is us two moving down. I don't think that's disrespectful. And there's nothing you can do when you've already stepped onto the walking elevator. But we were quiet. We were quiet. And to be fair, no one was giving us a bad look. I think they felt sorry for us, really. Because really, you just want to stand still. That's a true story. These things happen. Right, we're getting ready to start this game. Thank you to everyone who supports the podcast, by the way. I do say this stuff a lot. I'm just looking at some of the... Adam Levitt left a chat saying, public bone, I nearly crashed my car on that one. Yeah, I thought Richarlison had broken his public bone. He's broken his pubic bone. So me and Will were talking about this on the podcast. Goldbridge Saves Football, out every week. Give it a search, Spotify. Give us give it a listen, give us a follow. That's appreciated. My point is, we were talking about the injuries that Spurs have got, because I think Ange's a bit overrated by the media, and Richarlison's out with a broken pubic bone, and I thought it was a public bone, which actually probably, public bone you're going to get locked up for, aren't you? If you've got a public bone, you're going to get locked up. So Richarlison's not been locked up. He's broken his pubic bone. And then we were trying to figure out how and where it is. Now, I think your pubic bone's on your arse, but I've got no idea. And we neither of us knew where it was. So this is a first on a watch-along. Where is your pubic bone? I'm about to tell you now. I think it's between your dick and your arse. Or your fanny and your arse. But look, this is biology. It is. Oh, you don't want to be breaking that. The pubic bone is one of 3 bones that fuse to form the hip bone. It is located and serves as an attachment point for muscles, ligaments as well. So basically, it's the lowest bone in your arse. It's basically the bone that constructs your arse together and your hips. It is. I'm not going to start touching where it is, but if you can feel, yeah, it is. It's between your arse and your dick, isn't it? Let's be honest. Hoping United is able to close the deal today. He recently got called up to the national team, and United Luton Town is travelling to close the deal instead. He's 5 times better than Concedo was at 19. This is a player called Sambrano, says Arctic. It's the first I've heard of it. Hi, Mark. You predicted a Spurs win in win, lose or draw, says Raygard. Okay, well, there you go, Spurs fans. Apparently I'm a hater. I did see some people there saying that, you don't want to break your pubic bone. Thoughts and prayers with Richarlison. I did see some people today saying, let's hope that we don't get any bad VAR calls. I think things are starting to happen with VAR. I really do. A lot of people keep going on at me. Why do you keep going on about VAR? Well, I have a podcast called Goldbridge Saves Football, and really the theme of that is to try and highlight the issues with football, and VAR is sort of the big thing at the moment. So I won't stop talking about it because it's sort of one of our big things at the moment. Lovely play by Spurs. Get in. What a great goal that is. Have some of that. Brennan Johnson. That's liquid football. Get me a pint of that. Get me a pint of that. I don't care what the price is. I'll pay £5. I'll pay 10. That is absolutely fantastic football from Spurs. Shut up and sit down if you think the Ange train is going to stop in the station and refuel because Maddison and Van der Ven are injured. No way, Pedro. This is an absolutely incredible goal. What an amazing goal. This passing movement from Spurs is delightful. They get it into the right-hand side. I think it's an overlap for Porro. It's a lovely goal. What a goal by Spurs. That's fantastic. Again. Movement, chemistry, fantastic. That's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's such a good goal. It's such a good goal. Brennan Johnson with the goal, Pedro Porro with the assist. But the way they switch it from one side to the other, there's a player in the middle who dummies it. The clever movement from the fullback, the movement from Son to pull him away. Then Johnson exploits the space. I mean, that's a dream start by Spurs, and, well, there's a long way to go, but Wolves are no shrinking violets themselves. And look, at the end of the day, yes, Maddison's out, yes, Romero's out, yes, Van der Ven's out, yes, Richarlison's broken his pubic bone, but it's still 11 against 11. They've still got good players, and that's a fantastic goal. I can appreciate good football, and yeah, that was a very good goal from them. Now, look, Wolves have got to respond. We've got a game on our hands here. We could have a great game here. Paul says, swivel on that, Goldbridge. Mate, I've got Spurs down to win in win, lose or draw. I don't know what Fozzie's got. Thoughts on Chelsea City tomorrow, says Kai. Thanks for the super chats, by the way. You can do that through the $sign. Let's read that one out. We're doing a watch along for that tomorrow, Chelsea against Spurs. So looking forward to it. What are my thoughts on it? I think that my thoughts are generally that City will win. Yeah. Jordan says, so strange celebrating another team's goal. Can't lie. I'm not celebrating the goal. This is what people don't understand about modern football and how football's changing. I appreciate and love football. I put a tweet out today. My best friend from school's brothers, who was younger than us, passed away with cancer a couple of weeks ago. And too many people in life spend their time hating and obsessing about everybody else. And I've been on this planet long enough to know that we're here for a good time, not a long time. And at the end of your life, your social media influence, your money, and your success will mean sod all. What will matter is the good people around you that you care about, and what they think of you. So I don't do things because people tell me that's the way to do things. I do the things that make me happy. And I love football. I've loved it from a very, very young age. And I've watched a lot of it. And I'm watching this game with you. I may as well not watch it if I'm sat there going, I hate Spurs and I don't like Wolves. I'm watching it because I'm watching football and I want to see good goals. I want to see things that, like that Spurs goal. And I watch it and I go, what a goal. And I'll do it in the Euros if it's well, Italy might not be there, but if it's France against Sweden and Sweden score a good goal, don't know whether Sweden are there either, I'll say, what a good goal. I don't get that. I don't get that joy killer that because it's not your team playing, you can't enjoy it. So clip me up and say, look at this Spurs fan. Well, I was a Forest fan last week and then I was a Chelsea fan. And, the reality is I'm a Man United fan, but I love football. And trust me, as a United fan, over the last 10 years, I've had to find my good football elsewhere. And I love football. And I want to watch good football. And life's too short to not watch good football. And I don't see Man United play good football. So I'll find it where I can find it. And I found it there. Brilliant goal. And I will applaud Spurs. I don't actually have a massive problem with Spurs. But if it was Arsenal, I would have said it was a good goal as well. Because otherwise, you're a bitter person. If you can't appreciate quality in the thing that you love, if you can't appreciate talent, I do YouTube and stuff. There are other YouTubers that I look at and go, I wish I was as successful as them. Look at the Sidemen. Look at what they've built. I wish I'd done that. I'm not bitter and jealous. I just think fair play. They work really hard. They've got a great team around them. Well done. Some people would be really bitter of them. Some people are really bitter of what we do. But I'm not bothered. I know what it takes and it's hard work. Anyway, bit of a speech there. Let's get back to it. Lovely goal by Spurs. Wolves could respond. And what I will say about good football is when Man United played Wolves on the opening day of the season, they were fantastic. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. So Wolves can play good football as well. So this should be an interesting game. You know what? It's interesting, isn't it? Wolves against Spurs 2 years ago, I'd rather paint the fence. Imagine Nuno against Mourinho. It would have been, no way, I ain't watching that shit. And now look at what we've got. We're watching a game where Wolves are a good side, Spurs are a good side. I love the evolution of football in that way. Never give up hope because you can get good football. And Wolves had a shot there. Nathan Allen says, literally every fan of every club like Ange, and it's funny because everyone laughed at the appointment. This is what Spurs needed, good football, says Nathan. Yeah. Tim says, would you advocate talking to someone, a professional, to repair mental health? Well, I don't know whether you watched my interview I did on that podcast the other day, Behind the Industry, because I was asked about mental health there. And I would always be a very pro of somebody, being honest about their mental health, because I think you have to be honest. And the most important people to be honest with are the people that are around you, so that they're aware, so that they can help you. I don't really talk about mental health on social media or anything like that, or to you lot, or massively, because there's people out there that don't like what I do, and therefore they'll just make my mental health worse if I expose what my issues are, because they just want to hate. So for me, I think you're right. I think that you have to talk about it, but for me, it's got to be people I'm close to, or if that's not working, professional people or people that I can trust. But I couldn't really do it on social media because there's too many people out there that probably would like to see me do something stupid to myself, or something like that. And that's the sad world we live in. Oh, side netting there. But I'll always be an advocate of people, telling us on here, because you'll get a lot of support in the chat. So it's a good thing. But you've got to talk about it, yeah. Mark, you don't have to explain yourself. You're a brilliant commentator and a great contributor, says Dino. How high is the Tottenham line, says Wookie. I haven't really monitored it yet, but it will be line. It will be high. We were talking just before the Spurs game, weren't we, about VAR. Now, I'm not going to shut up about VAR. And I know it's starting to annoy some people, but I'm not going to shut up about VAR. I don't care who you are. Wolves have had some very bad decisions against them, as we've seen. Arsenal last week, Liverpool a few weeks ago, Brighton, Man United, Chelsea. These are just teams off the top of my head who've had bad VAR decisions. I'm not going to shut up about it, and I think ultimately football will end up being better for it, because what I do notice is, whether people want to admit it or not, if you look at the last few years, we have influenced fan content. There's a lot of people sat out there, even for games like this, who if you click on their videos, you'll go, oh, that's familiar. They're sat talking to me, that's familiar. So if we can influence people to start doing content like this, which we have, then people will also watch this content and see us talking about VAR, and the light bulb will go. And they'll go, oh, Goldbridge is getting a lot of what's the word? Notoriety talking about VAR. And that's how these people work. They're looking at what we're doing and they're going, oh, that's doing well, let's do the same. And I'm already noticing on the mainstream as well, and I'm sure it's starting to happen on websites and YouTubes, people are starting to do, this has got to stop with VAR. This has got to stop with VAR. So I'm not going to stop about it, because I know people watch what we're talking about. And I think there's producers and people out there that are realizing that this is what people want to talk about. The vast majority of people don't like VAR. In fact, if I did a poll, which we've not done for a very long time, should we get rid of VAR? I'm interested to know which way you would vote. First poll of the day. Mark, do you think Chelsea can get Europe, says Gark? Let's get the stats carousel rolling. Do I think that Chelsea can get Europe? Lemina's gone down here, injured for Wolves. Yeah, they can. They're only 7 points off. Well, they're only 5 points off Europe, if 6th place gets you there. So yeah, Chelsea can get Europe, yeah. I personally would switch VAR off. However, what I said on the podcast this week is technology is good in relation to goal line technology. So what I would do is I would use VAR for offsides and goal line technology. And that's all I'd use it for. Handballs, I don't want the game to be re-refereed. Red cards, I think I would rather you just got away with it than over-refereeing it, because the problem is, look at the Manchester derby when Michael Oliver goes and finds that foul by Højlund on Rodri. No one wants the game going back for that. Look at the offside last week with Man United, where they go and find that subjective offside on Maguire. No one wants that. We don't want those sort of things. We can live with that. It's not an injustice. The only reason VAR should be used for is the things that are an injustice. Like if someone scores an offside goal, it should be reviewed technology-wise. There's nothing else that I think is a major injustice. And people will say, well, what if a ref misses a red card? Well, if a referee misses a red card, he misses a red card. They can always go back and do that after the game. Spurs on the attack here. But look, if the referee misses the Bruno Guimaraes thing like he did last week, and it's bad enough that everyone's in uproar, just ban him for the next 2 games. Like, we don't need to do it in the game. What they've got to do is stop slowing the game down. What's the probability Man United get top 4? How about 5th? What 2 signings are priority for January, says Patrick. Lots of questions there. I don't know what the probability is. I mean, looking at teams like Spurs, if they keep winning, I'll tell you now, Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City are nailed on top 3. So you really, the way to look at a league table is to determine what spots are available. And at the moment, 4th place is there for Spurs, Villa, Brighton, Man United, Newcastle, maybe Chelsea. You know, it's up for grabs, 4th and 5th. Top 3 of the spots are gone. And you know what? I was talking to somebody in the week who was a Villa fan, and they said, you know what? These Spurs injuries are fantastic for everybody who wants top four. It's not great for Spurs, but if Spurs start to drop off a little bit because they haven't got the squad depth, then it's massively unlucky for them, but it could be really good for everyone else who wants top four. And that's how it works in football, isn't it? Good pressing by Wolves here. Spurs were playing it around nicely, but Spurs have won it back well. Isaiah says Spurs are still good, though. They are, but they've got Man City, they've got Brighton, they've got Newcastle, they've got some tough games to come. Leave it! Oh, you twat. You absolute twat. 27, took it off the foot of number 8 there. That's just low IQ football there. Was it Bellegarde? He's got no awareness at all. I'd be fuming as a coach there. I can see that. I can see it. You can see it. Number 8's coming onto the ball. Lovely. And Bellegarde has just not listened to the shout, doesn't want to listen to the shout. Watch this here. Is this it? No, this is something else. Yeah. Villa Spurs next week as well. Brennan Johnson scored for Spurs. Should be a really good afternoon for Man United tonight. I mean, I'm not going to overdo it, but it should be. Good to score. When you're away from home, though, early goal's good. Then again, is it? I think every game's unique, isn't it? If you score an early goal away to Man City, you've got a whole game sitting back. You want a late goal there, don't you? And them not to concede. I think Kobe Mainoo could start for United today. I'm more interested to see if Varane starts today. Kulusevski for Spurs reminds me of Dirk Kuyt at Liverpool. Not the quickest, but is amazing at keeping hold of the ball, says Nicholas Walker. Interesting observation there. And Moses says, do you think the referees in the PG MOL are intentionally misusing VAR to make sure that people ask for it to be turned and we can go back to their on-field decision being final? No. I just think, I mean, at the end of the day, the VAR has created more jobs, hasn't it? You know, used to need one referee. Now you need about 6 for each game. Lovely play by Wolves on the break. They've got a 4v3. Will they use it well? No. Greedy by, I think it was it Kuna who took the shot there? That's why I was very impressed with Luton last week against Liverpool. 3v2, and they made it work really, really well. Gomez is a good player for Wolves, isn't he? João Gomez. Well, I think he is. You might not. I do. He's only 22. Vicario's been a brilliant signing for Spurs. Screen of OG, yeah. CMU says that Man United are going to struggle against Luton because it's a low block. Well, I'm live on the United stand straight after this. We could do with. I mean, look, Liverpool last week will tell you this: if they'd scored in the first half, that game's over. You've got to score first, so they can't play a low block. The problem is if they score first, or you don't score. I like this. Al says, do you think cheerleaders should come on the field while VAR is making a decision to keep the crowd entertained? Yeah, cheerleaders, maybe a stand-up comedian, get Peter Kay on, Ricky Gervais, you know, just have them waiting on the side. And while we're waiting for VAR, they can start telling a few jokes. VAR is a good idea. It's the people who use it that ruin it, says Rory. Well, 60% of you would get rid of VAR, 40% want to keep it. But I would imagine amongst that 40%, there's a lot of buts in there. And I don't mean your arse. I mean, like, there'll be a lot of people saying, I would keep it, but use it this way, that way. I don't think anybody's happy with it in its current regime. Porro's gone down injured here for Wolves. I love football, says Aidan. Me too. Me too. I do think football's become a lot more stop-start though, as well. I mean, like this, there's a player injured here, and it's not unusual to have a player injured, but it is so stop-start these days, isn't it? The games are so long. I think United will be a bit better. Brighton under Sir Jim and Paul Mitchell, maybe a Champions League, but not a title anytime soon. Love the content, says Danny. Thanks, Danny. That's what I mean. The referee should be getting him off the pitch a lot quicker than that. And that's why I think officiating... I mean, there's so much to improve with football, isn't it? If you think about the start of this season, Howard Webb was pushing this. Oh, look at us. We're adding loads of time on at the end for time wasting. Nobody gives a shit about adding 8-9 minutes on at the end of games anymore, because we just want good football. And it's all about VAR. But they do have... The thing about... They do have the tools to remove time wasting. Like, you can get players off the pitch when they're clearly not that badly injured. Get them off the pitch. You can book people for diving. Book them for diving. You know, there's things that we can do to improve the game, but the officials don't use the weapons they have in their artillery. Rory says, I love the podcast you're on. True gent. Thank you very much, Rory. A lot of people watch that. Very surprised, because the previous ones they'd done had only had like 1,000 views, so I was very happy for them because it was a good podcast. I enjoyed the questions. I think I could have gone a lot deeper on a lot of it, but it was good. Embarrassing, our Prem clubs vote unanimously. Get my words out. It's embarrassing, says Jose, how the Premier League clubs vote unanimously not to have semi-automated offside, yet had to install the cameras in the stadiums for the European games, says Jose. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. What's your favourite game show, Mark? Says Jared. Well, I was massively into Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in the late 90s. Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And it was one of those programs that I thought was never not going to be watched. It used to be on loads, and I was like, people will never get bored of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I was like, this is the best game ever. And obviously they did. I used to like something called Telly Addicts with Noel Edmonds as well. Catchphrase always depressed me. Never liked it. Bullseye was good. I've got, tell you what though, I keep saying this on the podcast, I've got some brilliant game show ideas. I used to invent them at work. I mean, with all due respect, you can't sack me now, but I used to work in Dublin in an insurance job, and I never did any work. They thought I was busy working at my desk, and I was working on film scripts, sitcoms, and quiz shows, and I got paid to do it. It was bad management, really, because if they had good management, they'd have known I wasn't doing anything. So there's nothing better than going to work and on a Monday morning and realising that you're going to spend half of the week writing a quiz show. What did I do? I don't know what I was meant to be doing. I think I was meant to process life insurance applications, but you can do them in 2 minutes. You can do a proper job and do it in 6 hours, or you can do it in 2 minutes and just say, yeah. There was a safety. I played the percentage game. Like 80% of applications were fine, and then there was always an underwriter to check your work anyway. So I was just like, I don't really need to do this. They'll have a computer doing it now. Spurs on the attack here. Psychro says you were slacking on people's life insurance. It was life insurance applications, mate. Don't worry. If they probably got insurance that they shouldn't have got. And anyway, as I said, there was a safety net. There was somebody who used to check it. Look, at the end of the day, if you are asked to do something that's going to take you hours, or you can do it in like 20 minutes, and someone's going to check your work anyway, are you going to take hours to do it, or are you going to take 20 minutes and sit there doing what you want to do, and then someone else is going to check it anyway? And to be fair, not a lot of them did come back. Can't beat a bit of bully, says Todger. Here's another one for you as well. I used to work in house insurance briefly when I moved back to the UK, and I was a claims handler. So you pick up the phone and somebody says, I've spilt paint on my living room carpet. So you look at their policy and you go, you've got that, but you've got an excess, right? They used to monitor how long our calls were, and basically what you couldn't do is if I ended the call, they knew I was off a call, and there was always calls waiting. So there was always another call to take. So what I would do is, no matter who I was talking to, I'd go, okay, I'm just going to pop you on hold and check your policy. I could check their policy in seconds. So I'd pop them on hold for about 3 minutes, go on the BBC website, send an email to my mate about FPL, check my FPL team, come back. This is just all cutting corners, Bridge. Didn't want to work, Bridge. Yes, exactly. Well, it's about finding the job you want to do. Mark, can you explain the 50+1 mail we got during the night? It says that they will introduce an independent regulator in English football, says Soothing Stuff. I've not seen it. Aidan says, have you got Snapchat? Not that I control. And then when they started bringing working from home in, they had this is my favourite one. I learnt this off Homer Simpson, you know, where he's got that thing just knocking down on his keyboard. They had this thing and they thought they were really clever. They were like, people can start working from home, but we're worried about what they'll actually do from home. We don't want you popping out to the shops or watching TV. So we've brought in this mouse movement technology where if your mouse is inactive for 5 minutes, we'll get an alert. Well, this was a piece of piss. Because I'd just basically set my computer up on my laptop in the living room where I'd be watching YouTube or whatever, and just every few minutes. In fact, I learned to watch TV with the mouse, just going like that, just moving it. The lads out there will be, you know, don't ever try and catch us out with wrist movement. We're the masters. Kenneth, VAR is used to go after on-field refs decisions. That's why it should go, says Kenneth. Yeah, I don't like it at all. Don't like it. Anyway, back to the game. We've got nearly half an hour gone here. Spurs early goal. We need to implement DRS as in cricket, says Asher. Spurs with a fantastic early goal. And we've got a really interesting game of chess going on here. Both teams are... I think Wolves and Spurs are quite similar. Both very energetic sides. And both really trying to implement their style of play on the game. But obviously Spurs have got that early start here. Now, is this a foul on Højbjerg? He wasn't going to give a foul, but Højbjerg is okay, I think. Let's have a look. Doesn't even touch him. It's a dive. Mark's got that wrist movement, says Trey. I don't think he touched him. I think the ref got it absolutely spot on. I don't think there's any contact on Højbjerg here. Replay the clip. I can't see any contact. What was that? YouPorn Bridge, hence the glasses at a young age, John. Oh, that you know what? I don't want to get all seedy, but that has got to be... Who started that myth? I mean, it's like when you're walking next to a swan. Put your arms down by your side. Their wings can break your arm. They're 20 metres away in a fucking canal. They're not even looking at me. What have they got? Go-go gadget wings. Like, how are they going to break my arm from 20 metres away? But you've always heard that. And there was another one as well, which alludes to what was being said there. Yeah, Kenneth, I'm not saying that word. I don't like it. Good cross into the box. Wolves have got it. The keeper gets hold of it. Too much masturbation makes you go blind. Who started that? What a joy killer. Imagine all the people who actually believed that was true and stopped doing it, saying, I must stop doing it. I want to protect my eyesight. What a stupid myth. And I feel sorry for the people that believed it. Who started that? They should be doing time. Trust me, I've been under the opticians all my life. I've had like I've had bad eyesight since birth. So, and I've asked them many times, will too much masturbation affect my website? My website. Well, it will. Will it affect your eyesight? And they said absolutely not. And I've asked so many every time. I think you should make a Mark Goldbridge Snapchat, says Aidan. Thank you. Not going to, but thank you. Master Bates was in Captain Pugwash, wasn't he? I don't know whether that was true. They had Seaman Staines, Master Bates, and somebody else, but I don't know whether that's true or a joke. There used to be this cartoon called Captain Pugwash, and I don't know if it's a bit of a myth that some of the characters in it were Master Seaman Staines and Master Bates, but I don't know whether that was a joke or not because I never watched it. Anyway, let's be honest, and I don't go on these websites anyway, but somebody told me if that does impact your eyesight, why is it when people go on them websites there are zero adverts for Specsavers, Vision Express, or Boots? Because they'd be all over that. It's a very competitive market. You'd be surprised. People think that the food industry is competitive. Trust me, the opticianal market is cutthroat. It's really, really competitive. And if they had an angle that this activity causes problems with your eyesight, you'd be loading up, your MILF section or what everyone else does, and it would be there with some sort of Vision Express or something like that. And you don't see that. Pardon the pun. Wolves on the attack, another 3v3. Cross comes in. Oh, actually, it wasn't a cross. I think it's Lamina. He's gone bottom corner. It's a fantastic save by Vicario, that. I think Lamina here is gonna pass this. And I'd be very, very, very happy with this shot. And it's a good save. I don't know whether it's actually going in, but he's gone low across the goal. It's a great save. It's a really good save. He's a good goalkeeper, Vicario. For me, him and Alisson have been the best two in the league this season. He's been really, really, really good. Mark, chances of VAR messing with Man United today, says Thunderland. You'd hope not. I mean, Man United should be winning this game comfortably. So I would hope not. But you never know. I'm sure there'll be something over the weekend. He's an interesting player, Vicario, isn't he? Because if you look at his career, signed for Spurs, but Udinese, lots of loans, Perugia, Empoli. Empoli last year comes into Spurs. Just a really good signing. Really good signing for them. He's got to be one of the signings of the summer, hasn't he? Really, let's be fair. I mean, he's not going to get in the Italian goal national team, is he, with Donnarumma? But just a very, very good signing. I mean, that's the sort of signing that I wish Man United could do. A player that's just well scouted and nobody really knows a lot about. Really good signing. Very, very good. I applaud it. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Not asked for that yet. Bottom right-hand corner to subscribe. You're very, very welcome. Spurs 1-0 up here. 10 minutes to go to half-time. We're only 6 subscribers away from 54,000, by the way. So please subscribe. We should hit 54,000. Thanks, everyone, for getting involved. Appreciate that. Anyway, that's what happens. I've just lost the chat there. That's why I go quiet. Sometimes my live chat disappears because I'm looking at something else. I'm very good at that. As I told you, it worked. 61% of you would switch VAR off altogether. 39% of you would keep it, but I suspect most of you would keep it with changes. We used to complain. Oh, Wolves! Great save again. Unbelievable. This Vicario is unbelievable. I'm telling you, he is like a brick wall. He's absolutely fantastic. He's made 2 very good saves, one with his hand and one with his feet in the last 5 minutes. He is great. Makes such a... He reminds me a little bit of De Gea, actually. He does. His shot-stopping ability reminds me of De Gea. Really good with his feet, really good with his angles and his hands. He's probably better distribution-wise, but as a shot-stopper, he reminds me a lot of De Gea. He's got that, you know... That's a similar sort of build as well. Cavman says, we used to complain about the VAR, about the wrong ref decisions, hence VAR was introduced. Now we say get rid of the VAR. Should we not focus on getting better refs, as Cayman? I just think VAR makes the same mistakes that we had without VAR, so why have it? Human error should not exist in VAR, is my point. Are Spurs, Luton and Brighton all good teams to do in the AFC? Also, what are the best custom tactics, as Eddie? Check out my career mode on the Mark Goldbridge channel, because I can't remember. I haven't looked at my custom tactics for a while, but I know in earlier videos I did talk about it. Once I've got them set, I don't mess around with them, but you definitely need to use them. Would you take Lamina at United, Pyro? Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's better than a lot of what we've got. Come on, Luton, says Craig. You're wishing... You're wishing... I don't know what you're doing. You're pissing in the wind, really, mate. I'm not saying that dreams can't come true, but if Man United lose to Luton, even I'll lose my shit tonight. That's not acceptable. Someone's getting it if we lose to Luton at Old Trafford. Ten Hag may well get the sack. I don't think he would, but it's not acceptable to lose that. And I have respect for Luton, but they are getting relegated, so you can't be losing to them at home. Exan says, how was Brennan Johnson's goal? Well, it was a tap-in, but it was a very, very good goal. I'm having a stretch. Yeah, it was a tap-in, but it was a very good goal. YouTube account says that Luton were very good against Liverpool last week. Mate, I did a watch-along of that. Let's not rewrite history. They were okay, but Liverpool missed some big chances in that game. If Luton survive this year, then their manager should be manager of the year. Everyone had them in 20th, is the HPN. Yeah, I'll subscribe to that. Thanks for the super chat, but I will definitely subscribe to that. If Luton or Sheffield United stay up, then their manager should get manager of the year. I agree. They won't, but I agree. Foot says, why is Mount not playing? Well, we haven't had the team news yet. Not for another 40 minutes. Mr. Tit says, how do you survive a long car journey with your back? Well, I can move around in my car, can't I? I can do things in my car that I can't do on a live stream. I've pissed in a bottle in my car. You know, I'm not going to do that here. You can start giving your back a good old grind in your car. There's leeway in a seatbelt. Don't tell me you've never had a piss in your car. I mean, have you ever been stuck in traffic when you're desperate? I've been stuck in a bloody traffic jam for 6 hours before because of ice. Cold makes me need a wee. I'll tell you what, Nate. I'll tell you what makes me need a piss more than anything in the world. Tea. Cup of tea. You know, like Yorkshire tea or PG Tips. Tea goes right through me. I don't know what it is. There'll be somebody in the chat who knows. What do you mean just use the services, W&G fan? How can I use the services when I'm stuck in a traffic jam 6 miles away from a services? And people say get out of your car and go for a piss. Oh yeah, what about when the traffic's moving at a snail pace? Look, at the end of the day, always have an empty bottle. I use Athletic Greens, and for some reason I've got 3 of their little containers. It's got a very wide hole at the top, just about wide enough. Just don't do it when there's a lorry or a 4x4 near you, because they can look down on my car. But yeah, it's easy to do. And don't do it if anyone else is in the car, which I wouldn't be able to do because I get stage fright anyway. Get a Range Rover massage seat, says Pete the Meat. If you're a woman, you're in trouble. There's no way you're directing that. I mean, how would you even do it? You'd have to get your hand, you'd have to get your legs over your head. You'd have to get the thing and try and like do that. I mean, that's going to get clipped, isn't it? I don't know why I bothered doing that. But yeah, I've got no problem. Caffeine is a diuretic, says Matt. Look, I'm no sexist, but men have it good when it comes to having a piss. We do. We've got it good. I'd never go for a crap in the car. That's got smell issues as well as cleaning up issues. I've only once been caught short in my life in that situation, and I'm not telling you that story. All I'd say is I'd had a lot of onions the night before, and when you have to go, you have to go. And for me, it was about damage limitation because I was at college, and if that goes wrong, you've got to move college. So I took avertive action. I found a bush. I let it all out, used my boxer shorts to wipe it, and just went commando for the rest of the day. But if I hadn't have done that, I think it would have ended up with a very messy episode in class. Anyway, we're 3 minutes away from half time here. Honest Bridge, too honest. But it's the culture, isn't it? This whole I don't fart in the lift. My farts don't smell. We all go to the toilet. We all like a bit of hanky panky, and ultimately, we're all gonna die. We're all happy to talk about death. We're all happy to talk about birthdays, but talk about going for a poo or a wee or sex. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. It's not a taboo. It's not a taboo. It happens. It's part of life. Deal with it. Mark, have you seen the ads for becoming a referee? God bless the next generation officiating. Matt, you know what? This is not a contradiction. I watch a lot of amateur football, and I've watched a lot of amateur football from, going with my granddad to watch his team when I was like 6. I've got so much respect for grassroots officiating. So much respect. And I actually might shock you here. If I see my daughter, who's like a teenager now and she plays football, if I see her shouting at the ref, I'll tell her off. I'll say, you don't do that. Even though I used to do it. I'm like, you don't do that. It's wasted energy. Respect the referee. You can't change it. So I've got a lot of time for grassroots officials, but I don't have a lot of time for the pampered officials in the Premier League. Oh, that's a yellow card. That's a yellow card. He's late there, Royale. Yeah, refereeing at grassroots level, so much respect. So much respect. It's such a hard job. You haven't got any bloody stewards to protect you. You haven't got any computers to, tell you what you're doing. Most of the time, the linesman isn't even a fucking linesman. They're just basically a cheat. So I've got a lot of time for them, and we should respect grassroots referees. Taking a crap in the car isn't even that bad, mate. Just use a bag. Oh, I just can't get my head around that, Mez. I can't get my head around that at all. I don't even know how you do it. I would be praying for constipation and a hard, firm one. Because if it's anything smooth, you are in big, big trouble. Why has Gary Lineker blocked you? You have that in common. Only yours wasn't filmed in front of millions, so be thankful, says Pete. I think Gary Lineker blocked me. The time I noticed it was around the time Casemiro got that red card for grabbing the collar. So he obviously just didn't like my reaction. On away day, one of our mates needed a pee and climbed in the back of the minibus and peed into a Foster's can and is now known as Spaghetti Knob. That's what she said, says maybe do a poop along with Goldbridge. I guarantee someone's already done that. I remember going to... I don't think it was. I think I was actually playing. We had a bus for a cup semi-final, or maybe the final. Video idea, Goldbridge does refereeing, says Ross. I'd love to do it. I think it'd be great. You know, I'd love to see... I would love to officiate a game and show people how easy it is to do. So, yeah, it'd be good to do that. You don't get this on Sky, says Elliot. No, you don't. This is why they should give me a quiz show. I've got lots of ideas. I'm an entertainer. I'd love to present a quiz show. Goldbridge refereeing the Sidemen charity game. That's a trick they're missing, Greg. They are missing a trick there. But they like to get a proper referee in, don't they? But then put rubbish goalkeepers in. I know. Let's get one of the world's best referees to do it, but put the worst goalkeepers in. I can be bribed though. This is the thing. What if Mini Minter said, there's $500,000 loose change for him. Make sure the decisions go our way, and I'd go, you know what? How's this going to work? So we're about to hit half time here. 5 minutes has been added on because it's so stop-start this game. Spurs with the early goal, and then they've been defensively very, very good. None of this halfway line, high line today. Eve says it's not been that much of an exciting game, has it? I think both teams have sort of cancelled each other out, to be honest. I think the intention is there, but I think they've both sort of cancelled each other out. Is my opinion on it. I mean, my opinion may be different to yours. I'm not going to say that, but I think the intensity's been good from both sides. I just think they've both sort of cancelled each other out. Which hopefully will not happen with Manchester United today. And interestingly, if Man United win today, which I'm sure they will, we'll have won 3 out of our last 4 games. Basuma's just got a yellow card and is missing the next game, apparently. Wagwan is enjoying the game, to be fair. Lovely play by Spurs again. If he slips him in, this is it. Oh, it's bad play by it. It's unfortunate there. Spurs have played really well, but it's Emerson Royale going into the box, which is a bit like, well, let's be fair. Whenever I think about Emerson Royale, all I can think is of a chicken Royale that you get from Burger King, which I actually really like. That's probably my number 1 order at Burger King, and I don't even go to Burger King that much, but I do really like the chicken Royale. What's your favourite order from Burger King? I like a Whopper, but don't we all? I do like the chicken Royale. True story. St Stephen's Green in Dublin in 2001, I actually nearly choked on a chicken royale. And if I had, none of this would have happened. I genuinely was walking through it on my own. I had a bit of a cold, so I had a blocked nose. I was eating a chicken royale and it went down the wrong hole. And I had to sit down on this bench and I couldn't breathe. And there was nobody around. So if I hadn't got it out, then I would have choked and died on a chicken royale. That would have been my legacy. Not, you know, and we never would have had this. John likes a bacon double cheeseburger meal. Sounds lovely, John. That's half time. That's half time. I just want to talk about this very, very quickly at half time as well. Have to talk about this. You know, I was talking about officiating there. This is so true. We've all been there. Ever since I've played football and watched football at an amateur level, this is 99% of the games that you watch. The linesmen are never linesmen. Now, I don't know where you'd been living, maybe under a rock if this is breaking news, but because it's going to go somewhere, obviously. But in amateur football, at any level, pub football, most amateur football, you don't get proper linesmen. You get a proper referee, but you don't get proper linesmen. So the referee will come over to the side of the pitch where and go, give a flag to the manager of the opposition, and he has to go and find a linesman who is normally somebody's dad or mate. And I tell you what, it doesn't get discussed enough. It's almost a top podcast topic, this. It does not get discussed enough. The officiating of linesmen in amateur football in the UK is borderline hilarious and 100% corrupt. I mean, you literally need to be onside by about 10 metres to be onside. If you knock a ball over the top in amateur football and you're a metre onside, you will get flagged offside. Like, the bias from these linesmen is hilarious. The amount of times they'll put their flag up for... I've seen them put their flag up when you've dribbled past their defender from the halfway line. You can't be offside. And they'll go offside. Like, it's unbelievable. Iron says it's facts. It is. It just made me think when we were talking about grassroots refereeing, the corruption of the amateur linesman who is always a dad or a friend of the team that's defending. I mean, I've actually played in games when I was like 14 where one of the dads was the linesman every week, and he'd always say, as long as you're in a line and you're close to the striker, I'll always put the flag up. As long as, because he said, and he used to say to us, the bottom line is the referee can't see whether the attacker is level with you or behind you. So as like, even if they're a metre onside, if they're quicker than you, I'll put the flag up. Mark, double Whopper killed me. It's like a brick. SBS, McDonald's, KFC or fish and chips, says Matt. Start, bench, sell, McDonald's, KFC or fish and chips. I would probably sell McDonald's, bench KFC and start fish and chips. Controversial there. You should try playing amateur tennis, just parents getting involved and being prats for no reason. I've never heard of this, Alex. Amateur tennis is nasty, is it? On an away day, one about... No, we've done that one. Spaghetti knob, yep. How can they suspend a player after 5 yellow cards when the referees hand them out like candy on Halloween? Says BS. He's not happy. Well, if that's Basuma out for the Villa game, that's Basuma suspended, Romero suspended, Van der Ven injured, public bone injury for Richarlison and Maddison out. So that's 5 of their, well, 4 certainly good players. Lackland says tennis parents are very nasty at junior level. I need to go and watch this. I'm not aware of this. Rugby parents, brilliant. No issue. Football, amateur football, horrible. But apparently this as well. Adogi's out as well, Mark, says Max. Thank you very much. The worst one is, I was watching a game for my daughter last season, and they were playing, it was Blues against Villa, under 14 girls or something like that. And I think it ended up 1-1, or maybe Villa won 2-1, and my daughter was playing for Blues. And Villa were playing the ball out from the back at under 14 level. They were playing the ball out from the back. And I was stood there amongst all of the parents. I don't know who supported who, actually. I don't know, because I don't go very often. So I don't know whether I was stood with all Blues parents or all Villa parents or whatever. And I don't, I'm sat here now in front of 12,000 people, very vocal and opinionated, and that's what I'm like. But when I go to games and watch it, I just don't, because I respect the opposing managers. They're the ones who should be vocal. I've been a manager at amateur level, and it pisses me off when parents are trying to tell you what to shout and stuff. And what I really used to piss me off, because I used to coach like an under-10s team a few years ago, was you're the coach on the other side of the pitch giving your players instructions, and then there are parents on the other side telling their kids what to do. And it's just very, very annoying. So I don't do it when I watch a game. I'll talk to my daughter afterwards and say, I think you could have done this, that, and the other, and we'll talk in the car. But I won't do it on the touchline because I'm not the coach. Anyway, long story short, Villa are under 14s under 14 girls passing out from the back. Their goalkeeper, like Pep, like De Zerbi, they're passing out from the back. And I said to my mate, that's really impressive, that is, to be getting them to play out from the back at that age and telling them to do it. But of course, they weren't brilliant at it. And the Blues team, a couple of times, were really pressing them. But I could hear these parents of Blues fans who didn't understand what Villa were doing and going, we've got them on the ropes. Every time we've got them on the ropes. And I was like, oh, God, they've got no idea of what they're watching. They really don't know what they're doing. And of course, when we had the ball, we weren't playing out from the back. We were kicking it long. Long ball against pet ball, basically, at under 14 level. But a lot of the parents thought we were the better team because we were booting it long and the ball was going up their end. We weren't keeping it. And because they were passing out from the back, they thought that they were under pressure. And I was just like, you can't... I would rather have been Villa than Blues, because if they keep doing that every week, they're just going to become really good footballers who pass and retain possession and work their way up the pitch. Whereas long ball, it's 50-50, isn't it? But it's not... I've got no problem with the tactics. It might be to do with the tactics on that day. I've not got no problem with the coaching, but it was the parents on the side who just didn't have the brain capacity of what was going on, and they're shouting stuff. I can't... I hate being at a game, whether it's a proper football ground. I mean, I've been to loads of grounds in my life, and I'm sure you have been as well. There's nothing worse being sat with 30, 40, 50, 75,000 people. You're watching a game, you're talking to your mates that you sat with, and you hear people 3 rows below or 5 rows back shouting shit. Shit. Absolute shite. I've been at United games, and I've heard somebody stand up and say... I'm trying to give an example, because if I said the player now, they'd go, oh, they were ahead of the times. But let's just say I've been at games where people have said, Sir Alex needs to go. And they probably didn't say, put the sir there. He's fucking useless. And because they've got the balls to shout, they think they're bloody Gary Neville. Like, they think they're a pundit. Like, and that, I just can't stand it. I cannot stand bad takes. And I don't mind different opinions. Everyone's going to have a different opinion, but I'm talking definitive bad takes here. I'm not talking did Joel Linton push Gabriel or not, because I respect that some people think it shouldn't have been a foul. I'm talking about terrible takes, and they're gobby about it. Yeah, they're really gobby about it. It's just so annoying, and you get a lot of that at amateur football. You get people who don't. Oh, what's going on here? Okay, I know what's going on here. Let me turn that off. They've started the pre-countdown to kickoff show on the United stand, which means we're fine. We're absolutely fine. That caught me on the hop a little bit, but we're all good. We're all good. We're all friends here. We'll get it sorted. Don't worry about that. There we go. That's what we do here. That's what we do. We just change it. We want to drop in there, don't we? Because it's half time. It's not 2-2. What we're doing here then? I'll probably go. So, who's that? Wolves on 0, 0, 0. Okay, and it's not 2-0 to them. Don't worry about that. We've got it on lockdown here. A up. I'll do that one. What's everyone up to tonight then? Bonfire parties, takeaways, dates? Let me know. What's your favourite breed of dog, Mark? Says, oh yeah, I do like Bull Mastiffs. Think about Turner and Hooch. I like the British Bull Mastiff, yeah. How long do you see you doing YouTube for, says Callum? A great question. Don't think anyone's really interested in it, so I'll think about that while we're talking. Mark, Chris is off to watch the Man United stand build-up show. You're fine. That's absolutely fine. Don't worry about that. Rugby parents in South Africa are savage, says Elijah. Yeah, but you really care about your rugby there, don't you? Like, we don't really care about rugby over here the same much way as you. I'm not saying we don't care, but you really care. You do. You really care about your rugby. I was getting bantered by some South African people about England losing, and I was like, I really don't care. I think there was some Premier League football on at the time. It's just not... He ain't that deep, brother. What's your opinion, and have you any theories behind Marcus' recent form, says Tom. I think with Rashford, it's... I think maybe people just can't accept the fact that maybe he's just going to be a player that has hot spells and bad spells. There's been loads of players like that. Ashley Young was like that. And Rashford's better than Ashley Young. I'm just using Ashley Young as an example of a player could play 2 or 3 games where looks like he's one of the best wingers in the world, and then he has 10 games where he's average, and then he has 3 games where he's crap. And I think that's basically sort of how maybe that's the thing with Rashford. Maybe he's just a player that is never going to really be consistently week in, week out brilliant, but can be brilliant. Look, we're all walking in the snow with no footprints. We're all building our own journey, and I think that I don't know. I think he will start scoring goals, definitely, but how good he's going to be. Whether he can. I mean, I said last January that I thought Rashford, who was playing well at the time, could win a Ballon d'Or. Everything's, his brand, his reputation, his quality when he's playing well. He's got and he's an attacker. I mean, that sounds like a stupid comment now, and I'll admit it. But when he's hot, and when he's not, he's not. And there are aspects of his game that I still think need work, such as his ability to, get his head up, assist more, be involved in the build-up more. But, he'll start playing well again, and I'll probably say, he can win the Ballon d'Or. And then he'll do it for about 6 months, and then he won't do it for 6 months again. So we're all part of the problem. And, but... I think I fancy him to score today. I'm not going to lie about that. I do fancy him to score today. Chris, City will wipe the floor with Chelsea. What do you think? Thanks for the super chat, Chris. We're doing a watch along of that tomorrow. Please join us for it. I do think that there is a good chance that City will beat Chelsea tomorrow. Not because Chelsea aren't working their way back under Pochettino, but simply because Man City are a better team than Chelsea. I don't think it's disrespectful to Chelsea to say that they'll lose tomorrow, because Chelsea are a long way behind the best team in the world at the moment, which is, unfortunately, Manchester City. So I think that, there is a real... Look, I'd love Chelsea to get a result tomorrow, but I'm not so sure that they will, because I think that they're too good. They're just too good, Man City, and I hate saying it, but I think we all know it to be true. What can I say? Second half's going to come on in a minute. There's Neto. big player for them. How long's Neto out for? Because he was having a bloody great season. He was having a great season for them. I'm not going to tell. I've played the game, and he was having a great season for them, and then it's all gone a bit wrong, hasn't it? But what a miss he is for them. And they could do with the getting him back. I mean, you're always going to get injuries, but I do think we're getting a lot more injuries now than we've had. "6 weeks," says Abdul, and Diego says he was flying. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not just about the injuries that Spurs have got; it's the injuries that Wolves have got, and that he was their best player at that time. Gotham City. Yeah, Gotham City. Ooh, Gotham City. Tell you what, did I tell you I watched Road to Perdition the other night? Not seen it in years. I fucking loved it. It was great. It was absolutely great. I forgot to put the bins out. It's Glazer's fault, says Alfie. Right, we're ready to go for the second half here. Kick it. Kick it. Kick it. Come on, ref. Oh, they just love power trip. Start the fucking game. There we go. Will you watch Aspinall? No, Isaac. And favourite Attenborough scene and who wins? Rhino versus Hippo, says Matt. I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna have to go for a poll here, but I think I know the answer to this. Who wins? I think I know. I watch a lot of wildlife stuff. What did I watch? I saw a buffalo or a wildebeest beat a lion today. I just think it was a rare thing. They're on the attack. Terrible shot. I don't rate this Bellegarde. Does anybody rate him? I think he's got low IQ. I really do. He's got great physicality and speed, but he's got low IQ. Like here, he's shooting from 30 yards out and he's got a pass to slip someone in. First half, he takes the ball selfishly when there's a player behind him in a better position. He's got low football IQ awareness, and Gary O'Neill needs to get him working on that. I coach under 10s team currently, and there's nothing more frustrating than parents telling their kids to drop back when I'm trying to teach a high line, says BS. Oh, mate, I've seen it all the time. I have to walk away if I'm watching, because there was one guy. It was that same game. Oh, it was that same game. Blues Villa, right? And it was a Villa parent, because everyone was sort of mixed in together, and his daughter was playing on the wing, and he was telling her what to do. And she was going, no, they've told me to do this. And he was like, listen to me. Don't do this. When you get it, don't pass. Just go run at them. You're better than them. You're quicker than them. Run at them. Don't pass. Go at them. And I'm thinking, you're a fucking idiot, mate. Your daughter's playing at academy level with coaches that are playing out from the back, and you're telling your daughter in a game to get her head down and run and be selfish in a team where they're trying to get them to pass and move. You fucking idiots. And he was gob. And I was so tempted to say something, but I'm like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth getting in a broken nose at amateur football. But also, he's damaging the team that my daughter doesn't play for. But this happens. I'm sure many of you know this happens all the time. Sidan, it's parents destroying their kid's career because they think they're all amateur Arsene Wengers, aren't they? The amount of parents who think they know what they're on about as well. It's very close between Hippo and Ryan. Ryan's my producer. A Hippo against Ryan. Look, Ryan's a big lad, but he'll lose. Hippo versus a Rhino. It's 50-50. I'm stunned by this. You know, not many things shock me with this community, but a Hippo would destroy a Rhino. I know this for a fact. Let's see what Google says. Who wins Rhino versus Hippo? There'll definitely be an answer to this. Hippos can reach speeds. Yeah, I don't care about their speed. Yeah, they're talking about speed. Oh my God. Rhino would win on land, being that it's a larger, faster and deadlier with the horn. The hippo would really only have a shot in deep water. Despite it being much more aggressive, it's not uncommon for hippos getting eaten by lions, usually not adult, but rhinos very rarely do. Wow, I've underestimated a rhino. And I'm going to put my hands up and say, I stand corrected, rhinos. My respect is with you. Apparently a rhino would win. And the reason you know a rhino would win is how respected it is in the animal world. A lion will not take on a rhino. But it will take on a hippo. There's been a plot twist. I'm stunned. I would have gone hippo. Apparently a rhino is stronger and tougher than a hippo. We've learned something, Michael Morrison. They've got to give me a show on what Wildlife with Goldbridge. Like, I'm sorry, Attenborough's very good, but he won't be around forever. And also, life has changed. Like, the way people consume their content has changed. And if you want people to be interested in wildlife, then you need to give me a show. It's as simple as that. People don't want to just watch a rhino eating a piece of grass now. They want to know who'd win in a fight between a rhino and a hippo. What would a rhino do to James Corden? This is the sort of thing people want to know, and we can computer generate the carnage. This would be great. Mark, did you hear Gary Neville used your "I played the game" quote on the overlap and in a Scottish accent too? Says Smith. Oh, I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Sergeant Stupid, thank you very much. Will we get another goal in this game? 51 minutes, plenty of time, but Spurs get another one, it's game over. Obviously, if Wolves get one back, it's game on. Be a fantastic win for Spurs, this. It's been a hard grind for them. They've played, Vicario's had to make his saves. Wolves have played well again. I think Wolves' problem, and Gary O'Neill's problem is, he's got them playing good football, and they are very well organised, but he hasn't got a goal scorer. But Polar Bear a Beast says, Oddie, well, no, we've been here, Oddie. Apparently a hippo would beat a polar bear, which I will argue forever, but apparently would. All right, seeing as the Spurs game is crap, Tiger or a Lion, says Josh. I'm not going to do a poll because I want to do some football polls, but a tiger versus a lion, I would say a proper lion. Do they live in do they live in the same place? I mean, many people say that it's a bit of a toss-up between a lion and a tiger. It'd be close. It's not like there's one definitive. Wolves are on the attack here. This is a good chance. Terrible finish. Kuna. This is what I mean. They need a deadly striker. In this situation, he's got it in the box. There's a bit of work to do, but the finish is crap. Like, you've got to work the keeper. He doesn't even work the keeper. Build-up play's really good. Shots shite. If you want the Goldbridge opinion on who would win in a fight between a tiger and a lion, this is not definitive. This is just my opinion. It's a bit like saying, how good can Jude Bellingham be? Can he win the Ballon d'Or? I think he can. Doesn't mean he will. Doesn't mean everyone's going to agree with me. Who do I think could win between a tiger and a lion? I feel that there are two advantages that give it to a tiger. One, I think pound for pound, they look stronger. You know, they're built better, so I think they're stronger. But the defining factor for me is the fact that they hunt alone. And lions do tend to hunt in packs. So a tiger, for me, is stronger and more used to being a loner and fighting on its own. So I would go with a tiger. But depends on the lion and it depends on the tiger. As Southwest Ends says, it depends. It's a goal! Oh, what? Huang He-chan. Huang He-chan. Shot comes through the crowd from the edge of the box, deflects into the path of Huang He-chan. He's miles onside. He's really just got to pick his spot, and he's put it wide. Massive chance. And this is the problem with Wolves. This is the problem with Wolves. They get the momentum, but they don't have the finishing prowess. That might come back and haunt Wolves, because here's Kulusevski. Good block. Just a bit of early team news for Manchester United. It'll officially be out in the next 12 minutes. Anthony's on the bench. Rashford starts. No Wan-Bissaka. No Eriksen. So I've not got the full team yet, but these are just some of the stuff that's coming out. No Wan-Bissaka. No Eriksen. Anthony's on the bench. Rashford starts. That probably leans towards the fact that I think that potentially we're going to see Reguilon start at left back and Dalot start at right back. And maybe Amrabat starts in the midfield. Garnacho and Lindelof are starting as well. So Varane must be on the bench. Must be. If Lindelof is starting, unless Lindelof's starting at right back. Yeah, Varane's on the bench. So, you know, there's a few names coming out. Construct the United team however you like, but Lindelof and Maguire are starting. Dalot, back four looks like it's Anana, Reguilon, Lindelof, Maguire, and Dalot. Midfield, I can't predict. Front three will be Højlund, Garnacho, and Rashford. Midfield, I would say, is McTominay, Amrabat, and Bruno. Maybe Mount. I don't know. Who will win a fight, a giraffe or a lion, says Mark? You having a laugh? Just eat its legs off. That's like saying who would win in a fight, Conor McGregor or Peter Crouch. If you want to know, lion, giraffe, Peter Crouch, Conor McGregor. It's not how big you are. Wan-Bissaka's not in the squad at all, by the way, for Manchester United, so he must be injured. Again, another injury concern for Manchester United. How can he put Varane on the bench? I just can't, says Matt. Because we're playing Luton, aren't we? So he'll do it knowing that we can win. Here we go. Adam says, giraffes have been known to decapitate lions with a single kick, Mark. Yeah. It's a common occurrence in the wilds of the safari and the the Serengeti. You can't move for like my back garden's got loads of footballs in it, or it used to when I used to play. It's a bit like the Serengeti in Africa. It's just full of lion heads where giraffes are kicking them off. It's well known. If a giraffe sees a lion, just walks up to it, kicks its head off. Fancies a game of football. Very big Messi fans. Giraffes apparently can't get themselves down Sports Direct to get a Nike ball. So if they see a lion, kick its head off and let's have a kickabout. I can't believe Tord had just said a giraffe would take a lion easy. Bollocks. Absolute shite. I've never heard such rubbish in all my life. Max says a single kick would kill a lion. Oh, we've heard about all this. Don't stand behind a horse. It'll hurt. It could kick. Bollock. Yeah, I've heard it all. But I'm sure a giraffe has got a hard kick. But I tell you what, a lion has got a very sharp mouth and 4 very sharp hands. The bottom line is a lion would easily kill a giraffe, but it won't bother because it's a lot of effort. You got to bite its legs, basically take out its Achilles tendons. You can't get to its neck, so they just don't bother. I've spoken to a few lions and they've said to me, "Look, it's like making a lasagna when you can just pop down the shops and get fish and chips. There's no point." Ostrich versus honey badger, says Spencer. Well, people are obsessed with honey badgers in this chat. I'm tired of it. Honey badger this, honey badger that. There's a honey badger obsession in this chat and it needs to stop. Come on, we need a goal in this game. Wolves should be 1-1. If you're a Spurs fan, you've got to be feeling a bit nervous because Wolves have been very good second half. They just can't put the ball in the back of the net. It's been a recurring thing for Wolves for years. They just can't put the ball in the back of the net. Definitely been the better team second half. Had a couple of big chances, but that's another cross gone. Thanks everyone who's tuned in, by the way. Please do subscribe. Spurs are going to make a substitution here. Sarr is going to come off for Spurs and Bentancur. I mean, he's a good player. They're stacked in the midfield. What's your favourite animal, Mark, says Brian. I would have to say my favourite animal is probably a dog. I'm not going to be friends with something that's going to eat me. I don't know how you can be. Yeah, you can be in awe. I'm in awe of bears and lions and sharks, but they're not my favourite animal. I don't want to spend time with it. But polar bear. Who wins with a tiger and a polar bear? Ooh, I tell you what. Let's go to Google. Tiger versus polar bear. This is a good one. I mean, either ors are meant to be Who's better, Messi or Ronaldo? And we're doing this. If a tiger could get its teeth around a bear's jugular or on its spinal cord, it could quickly make short work of a smaller polar bear. However, the polar bear would likely win the battle in a head-to-head fight featuring 2 fully grown males. They're massive, polar bears. They're massive. They've got a very, very thick coat. Yeah, I'm going with the polar bear against the tiger, I'm afraid. I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible. I don't think if there was 10 polar bears and 10 tigers and they all had individual fights, I think polar bear probably wins 8 out of 10. I think there is a possibility that a good tiger could get in there. But I'd say polar bear wins. Be fascinating to watch. People would say it's cruel. It's nature. I bet there has been a fight between a tiger and a polar bear. Jaguars are the apex predators. They can climb trees, swim and run really fast and always go for the head. They take down crocodiles that weigh and just drag it up a tree or cliff to eat it, says Jack. He loves jaguars. Thing I like about lions, and I don't know whether it's a myth, but apparently they don't eat if there's a pulse. And what I mean by that is a lion will kill you before it eats you. So that they won't. I don't know whether that's true, but apparently they don't eat before a pulse, whereas some fuckers will eat you. I watched a bear eat a salmon the other day. Not a tin of salmon, a real salmon. He caught this salmon, held it in its mouth, took it to the side, put its paw on its head, and then just start eating from the tail. And it took all the skin off and the tail was still moving. Would you take 10 million, but on taking the money, a polar bear is out to track you down and get you? It knows where you are at all times, says Lee. Yeah, because I'll buy a fucking gun and I'll wait for I'll tell him where I am. I'll go, oi, I'm here. Come and get me. And as it runs up the road, I'll just go, AK-47. Who would win, a snake or a porcupine? I don't like them animals. Sing the Pratt song for a Bangalore. Oh, how does it go? I'm a Pratt and he's a Pratt. She's a Pratt, they're whiny. Now it's time for Pratt of the Week. 1, 2, 3. That's the jingle for Pratt of the Week on the podcast. United after this, yes. Quick toilet break and then straight into it. United official team is coming out, but I think we know it. We certainly know the back 5. Anana. Wan-Bissaka's injured, so Delo, Lindelof, Maguire, Reguilon. Front 3 is Højlund, Garnacho and Rashford. We don't know the midfield at the moment, but we suspect it will be McTominay, Bruno, and either Mount or Amrabat. Thunderland says, Man United team versus 2 Tigers. It would be a bloodbath. It'd be a bloodbath. Can you go through the 3 o'clock lineups, Mark? I will do, yeah. I will do. United is Anana, Delo, Lindelof, Maguire and Reguilon. Midfield of McTominay and Eriksen is starting. McTominay, Eriksen and Bruno, and then Garnacho, Rashford and Højlund. Varane's on the bench with Amrabat, Hannibal, Mainu, Mount, Pellistri, Anthony and Martial. Sorry, the message I got was that Eriksen was starting, not playing. It just came after Wan-Bissaka. So it's pretty much the same team for Man United that played on Wednesday, but of course Johnny Evans out with injury and Wan-Bissaka out with injury, so Reguilon and Lindelof come in. Spurs on the attack here. They've not really, to be fair, Spurs haven't, I don't know, I hadn't mentioned this, and I do want to mention it, so I will, but they've not really created much, Spurs. It was a very, very good goal, but when you look at the stats with 20 minutes to go, 14 shots for Wolves, 3 shots for Spurs. 1 on target for Spurs, 2 on target for Wolves. So Wolves have had a lot more chances, but not been able to do much with it. Who's playing at 3 o'clock today, by the way? Arsenal are playing at 3. Crystal Palace, Everton as well. Arsenal, no Saka. They've got Rice, Havertz, Jorginho, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko and Raya. And then, oh no, Saka is playing. Saka, Trossard, Martinelli as a front 3. Havertz, Jorginho and Rice as a midfield 3. Still no Odegaard, Jesus and Nketiah is injured as well, isn't he? So they are playing Burnley, which should be a good win for them. Do you think Bernardo would be in top 10 midfielders in the Premier League, not including the longevity, says Grealish? Basuma there with a bit of a late tackle, but he did get the ball. Woke up at 4 a.m. on Saturday. Come on, you Reds, says X. Thank you very much, mates, for your super chat there. And we've had another one. What do I think about Bernardo Silva? I mean, I think he's all right. How many Mark clones to win versus a polar bear, says Dominic. I think you need a weapon, mate. It's not about how many. I mean, look, if I had 5 of me fighting 1 polar bear, I'm going to sacrifice 2 to go head on. But what are the other 3 going to do from behind? And might be better off trying that, to be fair. Because what we're going to do, tickle it. I've only got my hands. What am I going to do? The front 2 Goldbridges are getting absolutely torn apart. And the other 3 of us are behind it going, tickle him, tickle him. I mean, what would you do? You need a weapon. I think punching it probably isn't going to do a lot from behind. We're not equipped as human beings to fight lions and tigers and polar bears without... We've got no weapons. We've got no claws. Our teeth are rubbish. Punching is not going to hurt a rhino or a lion or a polar bear. It's just not going to work. So that would be a horrible 5-man death, I think. The polar bear would just pick us off one by one. Ball's gone out, surely. No, it wasn't. Here we go. Good break by Spurs. Oh, it's Højbjerg. He's got to go back post. It's a lovely ball into Brennan Johnson. And he's gone for it first time. And has he hurt himself? Might be a bit of cramp. Mark, me and my mates are going to Dublin next year. Is there anywhere that you'd recommend going? We're definitely going to the Hairy Lemon, says James. Yeah, Hairy Lemon. There's some nice bars around there, just off Stephen's Green. It's all nice around the back of Grafton Street as well. It's a nice area around there. Get yourself in Sinnott's as well, which is nice. You could poke out its eyes with your thingy, says Rory. I think you've got to go. I think you're right, Rory. Kladzic coming on for Wolves here. You could poke out its eyes. Yeah, I think you've got to go for its eyes. But I genuinely think I could beat a polar bear, a lion, and a tiger one by one if you give me a samurai sword. I don't need any projectile. I don't need a gun or a bow and arrow. I think a samurai sword would do it. But God, you've got to be brave. You've got to be brave. Because it's going to come at you like a fucking freight train. And you've got to make that hit. You're deluded. No, I already know what I do, right? Polar bear. comes running towards me. Imagine this is my thing, right? Comes running towards me. Bit like a lightsaber, this. Watch the wire. Comes running towards me, and I would just go like this. Wait, 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 wait. And then I would move and slice the fucker in half. But you've got to be brave. You've got to know what you're doing. I mean, I wouldn't move like that. Fucking Father Time with his bad back. You just got to, you've got to, I wouldn't be standing there with a samurai sword going like this. You've got to move and slice. Yeah, but I tell you what, I don't know whether I'd have the composure. It's like taking a penalty in a World Cup final, isn't it? It's just nerves. But it matters more. Lovely goal. They're just showing the goal back from Brennan Johnson. It was a good goal. I've cleared the game. That was a good goal. A spear would be better. Well, imagine if it missed. Imagine if you've got one spear and a polar bear's running at you. And you missed. Oh. But the most... It wouldn't be like Timo Werner. He's used to missing. Like, you missed that. And you are the, you know, you're not coming back from that. I don't care if I'm trending on Twitter. Like, that is the worst miss in the world. Imagine throwing it with all the might and it just skims. And the worst one would be skims past its ear, or even actually gets its ear. So it makes it even angrier. It goes, not only am I going to kill you, I'm going to take my time on you now. You can't run. Pavan says he'd jump in the water. Oh, what? The place where polar bears like to go? Can't run. They're quicker than you. You can't climb a tree. They're better at climbing than you. They are the alpha hunter. Marshy says don't throw it, just hold it. Yeah, you could do that. Dig it into the ground, but it'll probably run round it. I think the worst advice I've ever heard somebody say, because we have these chats down the pub quite a lot, as I'm sure many of you do. Here we go. Oh, he's Alfie's lying there. Saar. Oh, I think he's caught him in the face. Kulusevski. This might be a nasty one. He's all right, I think. He's banged him on the head. Let's have a look. He slides through. Yeah, Kulusevski's left his foot in there. I don't think it'll be reviewed for a red card or anything like that. But basically, ball's gone through. Saar's come sliding out. Kulusevski's running towards it, and he's left his foot there a little bit. But they might have a look at it. No, he's all right. He's all right. Wan-Bissaka is ill for the game today, by the way. Yeah, anyway, one of my friends, just waiting for this game to get started again. One of my friends basically said that if they were going to get attacked by a polar bear, they'd just lie on the floor and pretend they're dead. And we just all shook our head. I was like, oh my God. And they were like, what? Why do you think it's fucking running towards you? Because it wants to eat you. If you lie down and play dead, it's not going to leave you, is it? It's going to be like, oh, this was easier than I thought. Who wins, Ibrahimovic or Hulk? The player in a fight, says the Mandem. What's this? Liam says, polar bears have ADHD, so you could throw something on the floor and the polar bear would get distracted by the thing you threw. Oh, yeah. Polar bear sees me, hungry, wants to eat me. I take my jumper off and throw it on the floor and he stops to tidy up. And I run away free. He's off putting my jumper in the washing basket. Come on. Are Wolves going to get an equaliser here? My mates say I'd lose to an anaconda. Absolute bullshit, in my opinion. They can't even punch, and I wouldn't let it hug me, so I'd win, says Sid. Adig says Son's playing bad. Well, he's in my FPL, isn't he? He's in my bloody FPL team. Somebody just said there's a good game you could play about survival. Well, just remember, next Saturday, international break, this time next week, I will be doing my charity stream that I do all day into the early hours on the November international break Saturday, raising money for people with terminal illness. So don't forget, next Saturday, all day we're streaming. So keep that in your diaries. It's for a great cause, and there'll be plenty of opportunity to play games and all sorts of stuff then. Wolves are in the box again a minute ago. Ruben says, I haven't watched. How's the game? They should have scored again, Wolves. I mean, I don't know how Wolves haven't scored. I just tweeted it there. I've seen a lot of Wolves this season. If they had a striker, I think they'd be top 6. They play really good stuff. Like, they'd have beat United at Old Trafford, definitely. They'd have beaten Spurs today. If they had a striker, they'd be top 6. Sty says, if it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night. That's a good rule. Oh, he's talking about bears. I was like, what are you talking about? He's talking about bears. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that before. I'm not, to be honest, I don't care what colour the bear is. I'm not lying down. So that's not happening. And also, a brown grizzly bear could fight a polar bear. We've heard this before. Mark, I asked this question about 3 years ago on Going for Goldbridge. Best superpower, be invisible or know the history of everything you touch, says Matt. I'd probably go with the history of everything we touch, because the invisible thing, what's the point? Basically, if you want to be invisible, you're just a stalker. Because what are you going to do with invisibility? Or a thief? Invisibility is sus, in my opinion. You're going to watch someone in the bath, or you're going to go in the shops and nick stuff. You know, you're not going to do it for good, are you? Now, if somebody said, no, you're going to be invisible and we're going to drop you into areas where there's some horrible people and you're going to kill them and, you know, solve the world problems, I'll be up for that. But realistically, I think that if you did a poll, if someone was invisible, they're not going to be off to some dictator and kill him, are they? They're gonna go down their local shop, nick a load of food, and then they're going to go around some girl or boy that they find attractive and watch them in the bath. Mark, we need Going for Goldbridge, says Isaac. We do. It'll be back. I'm sure we did grizzly bear against polar bear. Yeah, polar bears are larger than grizzly bears, and they're much larger. However, grizzly bears are much stronger. Polar bears are better hunters than grizzly bears due to their incredible swimming abilities. The grizzly bear has more powerful claws than the polar bear. Well, they're not really saying who would win. Grizzly bears have a reputation for being more aggressive and less fearful of humans than polar bears. Oh, you see, polar bears are scared of us, apparently. which would give them an advantage in a fight. They also have longer claws and a more powerful bite, which would allow them to deliver more damage in close combat. So, you know, it's not cut in stone here. Polar bears are bigger, but grizzly bears have got longer claws and a better bite. And also, this is fact, there have been 137 documented encounters between polar bears and grizzly bears, and it was found that polar bears reacted submissively to the grizzlies and almost always tried to avoid them. I think we know the grizzly wins. That's what I'm saying. Laying down worked for Leo in The Revenant. Might get a bit roughed up, but nothing more, says Robbo. Well, no, he killed it. Robbo, he killed it. Oh, it's another chance for Wolves. The cross came in from Kaladzic. I don't know whether he's offside, but he's headed it over. I'm telling you now, they couldn't finish their dinner. Don't feed them. They can't finish. It's a lovely cross into the box. Kaladzic. I mean, really, that's a terrible header as well. My God. Yeah, Saka does start for Arsenal. Load, thank you very much for that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. We've got 6 minutes to go in this game. Spurs fans will be looking at this with their injuries and the way they've played today, and they'll just go, winning when you're playing badly. And that's a great thing for Spurs, because Wolves, they're consistent. Arsenal fan, I want Tottenham to lose, yet Man City, says Matthew Veal. Wolves is a woman's dream, says Ethan. All action and no finish. I suppose that's what you mean, isn't it? The Wolves are going hungry today, says S1. Pan says, I enjoyed the penalty challenges videos, Mark, says Pan. Thank you, pal. Late double substitution here for Wolves. Well, I'd like to say Spurs deserve this, and they've played well. I mean, I don't think Spurs have played well, have they? Really? Wolves have had the chances to win, and Spurs really haven't created much apart from a very, very good goal. Did they score too soon? Well, no, because they're winning 1-0. But Adama Traore is apparently at Fulham now, S said. I asked this the other day. Is Rashford better than Saka? Aiden, no. Even Rashford knows that. Like, he's not better than Saka. He's not. Consistency is always the thing. Pure talent's not enough without consistency. So, on their day, you could have an argument, but it's about how many on your days you have. And over the last 18 months, Saka has been consistently influential, hasn't he, for Arsenal? 87. Have they got anything left, Wolves, here? Wolves win the ball back. Oh no, Bentancur's done well. He's just got to switch the play. This could be it. No, Son, he's had a bad game. I tell you what, if Son had scored there. Kulusevski. Oh, what a save by Sarr. What a hit by Lo Celso. That's going right in the top corner, and he's positioned himself well here. Spurs on the break. Really good chance. Son just couldn't really get it out of his feet quick enough to get the shot off. Don't think it was going in anyway. Then Kulusevski does well. Finds Lo Celso on the edge of the box, who hits it well on his left foot, and It's going in. It's just palmed over the bar by Sarr. Is it that well, the Celso? No VAR in this game has been so much better, says Whitehammer. Well, the VAR is there. We've just not had any VAR incidents. And look, I didn't know the name of the referee before the game, and that's only because I looked before the game. We don't know anything about this referee, do we? We've not really spoken about him, so I would applaud it. Addy says Son's having a stinker. Ooh. Here's a fun fact for you, says Scribble. Son has never scored against Wolves. I don't think he's about to score today either. I wonder if players monitor that. Boom, 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 boom. Goal! They've done it! We've got it at last! I tell you what, it's what's deserved. It's going to be a heartache for Spurs, but they've only got what's been coming, and it's an equaliser for Wolves. They thoroughly, thoroughly deserve it, and Spurs just couldn't hold on at the end. And is this going to be... Well, Ange looks very ruefully at the goal, and there may well be mistakes at the back, but you can't argue with the chances that Wolves have had. They've been the dominant force in the second half. Get it down the left-hand side. It's Kuna. I tell you what, you can't argue with that. You can't argue with that. It's a lovely ball by Kuna, and he's took it so well, so well. And Vicario, we know what a goalkeeper he is, and he just can't get anywhere near it. Wolves thoroughly deserve it. They really do. Ben Davies doesn't look too happy. Sarabia scored the goal. I'm talking about, I'm looking at the league table. Would you rather be a short man or a tall woman? Dan, I don't want to be a woman, thanks. I don't think you can want to be a woman when you're a man, because you still, what, you're going to have a brain wipe. Cracking goal by Wolves. They thoroughly deserve it. We've got 6 minutes added on here. And they have been the better side. There's no doubt about it. Could they go on and win it? It was a good goal by Sarabia. It was a lovely pass by Kuna. And they have deserved a draw, Wolves. I need to change the score here. They have deserved a draw. You can't argue with it, really. It's been a funny game, but we've been watching it together, and there's absolutely no doubt that Wolves in the second half have been better than Spurs, who have looked like a team missing the likes of Maddison and Romero and Van der Ven. And obviously, I think Basuma's come off as well, hasn't he? So, Ansar, they're just holding on here. And I did think it was going to be one of those games for Wolves where Spurs could win it. But I thought it was going to be one of those games for Spurs where they could win it playing badly. But Wolves have deserved at least a point from this. I can't deny that. Is there another twist in the tail here? I mean, Spurs on the break have had chances, but Wolves probably won't leave it open now. And Son is rolling around with his groin. He's not very happy. I don't know what's going on here. Let's have a look. It's a good tackle by Dawson. Oh, I think he lands on his knee. Oh, no. Son, surely. No. Is Son play acting there to try and get him sent off by holding his nuts? I don't know. Craig Dawson misses the next game for Wolves. I don't know what went on there. I don't know whether he's just caught him in the nuts by accident, but there was certainly no stamp on the nuts. Azza, apparently I predicted a Spurs win in win, lose or draw. Cross comes in. Oh, I tell you what, I thought he was going to land on Ben Davies' head there, but Wolves defended the cross well. And they're on the break themselves. There's plenty of players back. Good tackle. Very good tackle there. And there's another foul as well. It's all going off. Wolves aren't very happy. Ref's just chucking out yellow cards now. I want this game to end. I've got to go and do United stand. Meant to be on in a minute. Squid says referee's been good. He's not been bad, actually. He's not been bad. I think we've had no VAR issues, which are good. Wolves will be ecstatic. They've not been given a dodgy penalty against them. Is it the drop-off of Spurs? I think logically they will drop off, yes. It's a quality thing. They haven't got the quality and depth. So when you lose 3 or 4 important players, I think it becomes an issue, yeah. They just haven't done enough to win today. I thought they started well, but they haven't done enough to win the game today, whereas I think Wolves could have won it. There's a lot of silly tackles going on now. Wolves are going to have an attack, though. They could still win it late on. We're into the 6 minutes of added time. The cross comes in, and they have won it at the end. It's Lamina. It's head in hands for Spurs. It's hands in the air for Wolves. They've only gone and done it. They've deserved it. Arsenal fans will be rejoicing. Ange can't believe it. It's just a quality thing. We were talking about it a minute ago. They don't have the quality and depth. And today they've been decidedly second best, especially in the second half. Wolves in the second half have really gone and got what they deserved there. And look, for Spurs, that's a right kick in the arse. Of course it is. But if you've watched Wolves a lot this season, which I have, they've been so unlucky in so many games. And little bit of fortune. Well, it's not even fortune, is it? It's good work. I mean, why they've not picked up the runner there from Lamina? He's miles onside. No one's picked him up. He's put it in the bottom corner. There's nothing Vicario can do. But Spurs just drop their line, don't they? I don't know why they hold that line. But yeah, Wolves this season have been very unlucky lots of times. They were unlucky against United. I mean, they've beaten Man City here this season already, haven't they? I mean, what a way to do it as well. They were 1-0 down going into the final few minutes. And then they've won it 2-1 at the end. Gary O'Neill's running down the touchline to celebrate with the fans. What a job he is doing. What a bad job Bournemouth did getting rid of him. Spurs won't believe this. They'd have been thinking about grinding out a poor game win. And here they are about to be heading back to London with a draw, with a loss. Referee's still going. We're into the 98th minute here. Spurs are going to launch a big throw. No, they haven't even launched a big throw into the box. Don't know what that was all about. And there's the final whistle. Wolves with a big win. We got the excitement at the end. It's a big win for Wolves. Wolves fan in the crowd says, fucking get in. He's enjoying himself. And he might be saying that tonight as well. I don't know. Who knows what he gets up to in his own time. O'Neill ball better than Ange ball, says Robbo. And this is why I love the Premier League, says Flores. Right, I'm going to go to a quick toilet break and I'm going to be live on the United Stand in 3 minutes. So I'll see you live on the United Stand in 3 minutes for Manchester United against Luton. See you there.